It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because the judge said we are not allowed near schools in the U.S. anymore. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
And we're back with Garrett Groesbeck on Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey. Thanks for joining us again, Garrett. So, you know, when you speak Japanese, it's kind of like sarcastic Japanese. It sounds sarcastic to me. The pronunciation's fine.
それはわかりません。
Hiniku no hyuma te nani? So what is...
American joke, なんでやねん.
It's sun meat humor? Is that what it is? Hiniku?
You know.
Yes. So, yeah, my wife just, when I say all of my jokes are sarcastic, and I'll say something like, oh, great, we're having, was osechi, right? The New Year's food again. It's my favorite. It's like out of every day of the year, it's like my 365th favorite food that I eat that year, you know? It's just like, just say you don't like it. We all know that. You don't have to, you know, make fun of the fact.
You don't have to be so ground meat
you
say it.
You don't have to be so creative when you're insulting our culture. So Garrett has been at some of our shows, and he's actually done open mic a couple of times. So what was your experience like at open mic? And I think you mentioned you hadn't done that before.
I had not done, although I do enjoy listening to stand-up. So, but you know, I feel like I missed that sort of great generation of amazing live stand-up comedy. So I am mainly exposed to it through podcasts and YouTube and the sort of things that are accessible in Japan and Wyoming, which might as well be Japan, you know, as far as actual culture that we have.
Except you can walk on the escalators in Wyoming, apparently.
There's only one escalator in the whole state, yeah.
Both of them, yeah.
All one of them.
You mentioned this before. I wanted to clarify that actually, the comedy fans don't feel like you don't have to know everything about Louis C.K. and Richard Pryor. But I mean, comics, we're Rain Men. You know, we're just basically autistic about comedy.
We're just hunched over a laptop, sort of scuttling away at the key.
I was a comic nerd, you know, since I was 5 years old, and when I at the time, this is very much dating me, but somebody's got to, hey! So I might as well date myself.
You are a married woman.
Hey, what
Jingle
did you
Girl
hear?
I saw the look that Jingle Girl just gave me.
That is very impolite.
She's not going to date you.
You are very rude. She said I'm not her type, which is you know, attractive guys. That's what she's attracted to. So when I saw Laugh-In. So Laugh-In, you probably know, very old.
I don't.
I was 7, and Laugh-In, I was in 2nd grade, and Laugh-In was this comedy show. It was just crazy, and it was kind of like a Zoo Crew radio show, but it was on TV. It's a lot of stupid gags and things like that. Well, they had this one guy. I'll probably have to talk about him on another show, but he did an impersonation of a German guy, and all he ever said was very interesting. We'll put this in the episode, so we'll have the actual credits of the guy. And
very interesting.
That's all he ever did. Say, very interesting. It's like, so, yeah, we just got back from dinner, and very interesting. Coming from a Jewish family, we love to make fun of Germans. So I don't know why that was funny, but it was funny to me. My teacher, we had show and tell, and she goes, anybody want to do a show and tell? And of course I did. So I get up and I said, yeah, so I was talking to this German guy, and I said, you know, I'm in 2nd grade. And he said, very interesting. I said, yeah, and I have homework. He said, very interesting. And I said, do you have a pencil I could borrow? And he said, very interesting. And my teacher, she's like, okay, I think we got it. I don't think you have the whole thing, the comedy thing down there, because you need a punchline. What's the punchline? I don't know. I saw it on TV.
And
it was just funny.
Literally punched her.
And then I killed her. And so...
And that's how he ended up in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a jingle that the Jingle Girl will make. So after, you know, I just started listening to, and I'll say it. Bill Cosby, I still like him.
I mean, his jokes are great.
As a comic, he was like my second favorite comic. And when you're kids, you don't want to get drowsy around him, you know.
He did do horrific things.
I wouldn't drink his Kool-Aid and the pudding. You don't
want to eat his Jell-O.
And the proof is in his pudding, so you don't want to. That's evidence. Don't touch that. So
Bill Cosby was a terrible person, and as a millennial, I'm required to denigrate everything that he said and did.
But all right, yeah. And as a 9-year-old comic, I memorized everything he did.
But he did make
Right.
some funny jokes.
And-
I will never remember his way of pronouncing, and her face split. I can't even recreate it.
In your face. I can't even do it either. But
And I look at my face in the mirror, and I see little tiny hairs growing out my face.
when we were kids, we just memorized. They had comedy albums.
yes.
They had George Carlin and Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor, which we weren't allowed to listen to, but of course we listened to. It's like the book on the floor. Don't you listen to this album?
Don't learn about, crack cocaine.
That African American is crazy. That's,
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
he had amazing, album
My
titles.
family would never use the word African American.
But I mean, that's a joke because his album title is a word you can't say. Please don't say it. We can't even say that word on podcasts. And it was an album. It was an album cover. The N word was his album cover. That was in his title.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, not that was great, but I mean, he couldn't even say, if he came back to life today and he used the word, he would be banned. He would be banned from social media. And that's a shame. And so I listened to all those, right? And then, watching Carol Burnett, I'm like, what else is there? And I go to, Dean Martin, and you just get way before my time. So that's because we're comics. Just because you're a comic fan, you don't have to do that. So we don't expect you to know everything. Remember what George Carlin said, the second track on his first album. Remember that?
Of course.
But as a comedy fan, you should gravitate to what you like. You go to shows you like because you're a ticket buyer. You're an album. You're a customer. But it changes when you go to open mic, and then you realize, it's like, wow, it's not as easy as it seems. So what was your experience when you did open mic for us? The first time might have been in Gifu, I think.
It was in Gifu at
KJ's.
KJ's, yes.
Wonderful place.
KJ's, GC. Okay, I'm mixing up my
It's
acronyms.
KJ's Yanagase Gifu. He's a big supporter of ours, and we love that place.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was quite a fun evening.
Were you nervous at all?
I was nervous, but not to brag, but I did do speech and debate in high school.
Oh, okay then. Well.
But also, doing music, I think it kind of prepares you for being on the stage a little bit, and I don't know, I guess what else are you going to do when you're sitting on the train in Japan and the subway's so loud you can't even hear through your headphones except for think of what you would say at an open mic, right?
Right. Well, you had we liked your approach because you were not, well, first of all, you weren't drunk, and that's, a lot of open micers get on.
I waited until afterward, thank you very much.
And another thing is open micers, we're not insulting open micers because we have it for every show. And we did a couple episodes ago some advice for open micers, so you can go back and listen to that advice for open micers.
I definitely should.
Or anyone that's interested. But something that happens a lot of times is you'll have a heckler, and then he'll go on open mic, and then he gets a taste of his own medicine. It's like, wow, I probably shouldn't have interrupted that guy's act because I can't even remember my 4 minutes that I was going to do. And it's kind of humbling. So we really encourage. And something funny that happened in the last show at Gifu, we just did a couple of months ago, actually. And one of the guys, he didn't remember that he was drunk 2 shows ago and heckled us miserably. Now, here's the thing about comics. We tape our shows, and we play it back to see what works, what doesn't work, what got a laugh, and how can we expand on that.
I don't think people realize how intricately you tinker with the wording of a particular joke.
Exactly.
Or how to grammatically phrase a sentence so that the punch word comes at the end.
Yeah, and also even your set list is like, you want to get your funniest thing, you want to end with that. So if you get a giant laugh and you still had 2 more minutes left, I would end on the giant laugh. I would end on that. Yeah. Because you don't know.
Just commit seppuku right there. Finish.
But I mean, we're doing new material every month, which is unusual because in the States you usually write material and you can do it at 78 different clubs in your area. We have 4 clubs in our area. So I told the guys, let's do new stuff every month. And so you're rearranging things. So we play the tape back and we're listening to our act, but we can't hear the audience because of this drunk guy going, "Hey, bro, you got any jokes that aren't about dogs, bro?" And he's heckling all the way through. And
very insightful. Hecklers generally provide very insightful
hey, that joke wasn't as funny as the other one. I know. I'm testing some of these out. Shut up. So we played it back, and he talked all the way through most of our acts. So we were delighted when we took the open mic. He took the open mic pledge, and he will remain nameless. But he went on, and we're like, yeah, go ahead, man. Good luck. We were ready. We were like vipers in the garden in the grass. He's like, go ahead. Here's the microphone. You knew what's that story? You knew I was a scorpion, but you gave me the microphone. You knew I was a scorpion. You know we're going to get you. So we demolished him.
And then you killed him.
We demolished him. We killed him verbally.
Yes.
Every time he opened his mouth, it's like, so anyway, hey, you got any funny jokes, bro? And we just demolished him. And he's
so
like,
you did it the Japanese way. You just made him so humiliated that afterwards he went out and sliced his own throat.
Yeah, the punchline was we went to Gifu Towers after that. There was a nice restaurant at the top of the 15th floor, and he jumped off. So that was good. That was funny. He was always doing funny stuff like that.
Hilarious.
It was. We actually got back at him, but he didn't understand what was going on because he didn't remember heckling us in the first place. So at the end, he's like, "Hey, bro, why you got to be so mean?" I'm like, "I'll play you the tape sometime. You talked all the way through my set, man." A little bit of humility, and I mean, sometimes open micers. We had one guy who we invited him. Here's a little secret business. It's show business, okay? Show business. And so it's a business. So sometimes we have open mics, so we will get more customers because people drink and then they want to get on stage, and that's good for business. And that's what we want people to come on. And so that's why we have open mic. We don't have open mic necessarily because we're scouting for people, and we definitely are not like listening for material for jokes. That'll get you blacklisted. We don't steal material. No comic would. No comic would ever think of that.
Inconceivable.
No, actually, it's a big.
Oh, did I?
It's the biggest.
I came up with that myself right now. I never would have.
Don't get me started. How about that? That was mine.
Of course.
Oh, my doctor, Dr. Vinny Vumbatz.
And another thing.
Who are these people? So that was mine. No, but comics, it's probably the biggest sin you can commit is to steal another comic's joke because we're all Rain Men and we know everybody's jokes, right? we know it's like that was Louis C.K.
And when we go home, we immediately sort of crouch in a corner and sort of go, what else can make the people laugh at me?
That's exactly what we do. You have a little memo pad, like here's my memo pad. I keep it in my back pocket. I'm like, that's funny. I'm not going to remember this tomorrow, so I'll write it down. So we invited people to come on. And I said, you could do open mic, but basically we just want you as a customer. But if you want open mic, it's free, and it's like, so this guy wrote us back and he had done open mic before, and he goes, so I have to pay? You mean to come on and do open mic? I'm like, yeah, open mic is basically, it's a campaign. It's revenue enhancing. We do it to draw people. It's a draw, we don't do it because we want to see your acts because we're curious about your fart jokes that you wrote on your break.
Oh, I'm sure his mother laughed at those fart jokes.
And his friends all tell him, both of his friends tell him that he's funny, And so he goes, no thanks, you don't deserve me. And I said, well, that's interesting because the feeling is so mutual, and it's like sometimes when
I've lived in Japan too long. I'm very uncomfortable with social sort of.
Yeah, in Japan you would say like, did that really happen? Actually, it did happen. But another thing is that we'll be on another podcast, or we'll talk to somebody, and we're trying to promote the show, and we'll say, open mic, and so to get in, we will mention our next show in another podcast, but we usually say, it's, for example, 1,500 yen to get in, and that gets you a free drink, and if you want to do open mic, and then sometimes people say, wait a minute, you have to pay 1,500 yen to do open mic? No, that's to get in. That's not to do open mic. You don't have to do open mic.
Yeah.
That's to get in. That's for a ticket, Open mic is free. Yeah. Actually, open mic is a big problem for us because we don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right, and we could get kicked out of the venue,
and people could, leave partway through or throw themselves from the highest.
I think
floor
you did
of
a
the
show.
building.
I think you did an open mic with us. Were you at Coat of Arms?
Yes.
In Fushimi. We had a couple open micers, and they got on, and I could just feel the laughter being sucked out of the room. You could feel people. They're the first face you see is open mic, and it's like, no, we're actual comics. I mean, we actually get paid. Not a lot, but I mean, we get paid, and we actually have material. But if this guy doesn't put everybody to sleep first, and we're so that's why I'll do my famous, okay, wrap it up because I can hear the eyelids closing, and people, putting their pocketbooks up and they're getting ready to leave. It's like, open mic is not the show, folks. It's not the show.